Hey everybody, Mr. Eric Jenkins coming at you with a brand new video, but a quick warning before you watch this video. Near the end, I'm going to do a break segment where we do go over some disturbing content that relates to suicide, murder, sexual abuse, sexual assault, gore, bodily fluids, and a lot of other disturbing content. If that is something that triggers you or it's something you do not want to hear about, please consider clicking off this video, or if you do want to see the pickups that I have, check out the remaining of the video, but at the end I'm going to do a break and then go into the underground disturbing content. So with that being said, let's get into it. Hey everybody, Mr. Eric Jenkins coming at you with a brand new video, and this is part 2 of the November 2022 pickups list. And as I kind of teased in the first episode, this is all from one person that brought in this stuff over the past, I would say, month, maybe 2 months at the pawn shop I work at. If you haven't seen the first part where I do a lot of media pickups from different stores on Black Friday, eBay, etc., click up in the eye where it'll bring you to the first video. And we're going to go into a lot of the boutique stuff first. And as we progress, it's going to get into some more obscure, out-of-print stuff. And then we're going to take a quick 5-second break to break up the stuff to go into the more disturbing, out-of-print, extreme underground content. Because I do know there's some people that do not want to hear about that. So, I want to give them the fair opportunity to leave if need be. With that being said, let's get into it. And we're going to first start off with, I have piles everywhere. Let's start with the stuff that's next to my desk, which is some Vinegar Syndrome, some Grindhouse releasing, and this Anchor Bay release, which I'm very excited to finally have. This is the Ilsa box set, containing She-Wolf of the SS, Harlem Keeper and the Oil Sheiks, and the Wicked Warden. When I first started working in the pawn industry, the shop that I worked at originally, they had a bunch of sealed, like Blue Underground, Anchor Bay, Grindhouse releasing stuff, and I was very tempted to buy this sealed. I didn't, and it sold like a couple weeks later. I'm like, dang it, I should have bought it, but really, really glad to actually have this in my collection now. It's been on my want list for a minute. Next up, we have some Grindhouse, and I will say a lot of these are blind buys. I haven't done a lot of research into picking up a lot of these, or haven't watched them currently. So I apologize if I sound a little, if I go a little off the cuff with some of the descriptions. I'm not 100% on them right at this point in time. But we do have a Grindhouse releasing of The Big Gundown, which is a Italian Western film put out by Grindhouse. We have An American Hippie in Israel, the Grindhouse releasing, limited to 2,000 copies. This is The Year of Our Land, 1776 out of 2,000. Really cool almost lost film that they put out, and I remember seeing that in early Grindhouse trailers that I like, or DVDs that I picked up, and I'd watch the trailers. So that's actually really cool to see. And then we have Umberto Lenzi, The Tough Ones, which is really cool. So excited about that. Next up, we do have some Vinegar Syndrome stuff with 2 titles with slipcovers. We have The Uninvited, really cool there. This one's still factory sealed, which is cool. And I will have a Severin and Vinegar Syndrome unboxing in December. I did take part in their Black Friday sale, so be on the lookout for that as well. And hopefully I'm going to do some reviews on some of these titles that I pick up. We have The Suckling, which I record. This is the second time I've recorded this, and I was like, oh, I wonder what this is about. I'm like, maybe it's about a baby. And it's close enough. We have, this is Murder Weapon and Deadly Embrace. Some like horror sleaze right there. Horror House on Highway 5. For some reason I like froze up there. I'm like, why? Because I sounded like Danny DeVito. Horror House. We have a very disturbing early exploitation film, Don't Answer the Phone. The actor who plays the home invasion person, check on your man. He did a phenomenal job. I've done a little bit of digging on that film, and it looks amazing. I can't wait to watch it. But some of that looks out of this world. We have Count Dracula's Great Love. And we have a AGFA, which is the American Genre Film Association, Vinegar Syndrome, an early release, Spine 82 of Night of the Strangler on DVD. This one's still factory sealed. And the thing is, there were a lot of... there's still more we're still going through, and I have to be good because it's the holiday season. I have to get gifts for other people, but it's tempting. It's tempting to pick up a lot of stuff. Next up, we're going to go into some Criterion. Starting with a film that I've wanted for a little bit. This is Fantastic Planet. A French... I guess we'll call it like French New Wave animation. It's very obscure and out there. I've been wanting to see that for a minute. We have John Waters' Multiple Maniacs. That one's still sealed. We have Stalker, which I believe is out of print. I'm not 100% sure, but this one's a little bit harder to find. We have Don't Look Now. We have Scanners, a David Cronenberg film, which is actually funny. The day that I picked this lot up was the day that the It's Always Sunny podcast released their episode about the gang tracks Liberty Bell, and they actually mentioned Scanners because they mentioned that they had an effect that they wanted to do a Scanners-like head explosion. So I'm like, I relate to that, and I told my buddy about it, and I showed him like, here's the movie, man, and he's like, oh, that's what that looks like. Dope. We have Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me, still factory sealed. Also, I don't have it currently in this room. It's on my bookshelf. The complete Twin Peaks series. Both box sets, which I'm very excited about. I unfortunately haven't dove into Twin Peaks yet, I know. But now is a good time to do that. I think it's going to be a pretty harsh winter. And I think there's going to be some school cancellations, possibly. So it's going to be a good time for me to, get caught up on some stuff I haven't seen in a long time. We have Black Moon. Stray Dogs, which was on my want list for a little bit. Dustin Hoffman film. Kronos, Guillermo del Toro joint. Very excited about that. We have The Innocents. And we have James Caan with Thief. This one's still factory sealed. And then... This I've been wanting for a little bit. I was on the fence for it. This is Spine number 1000, the Godzilla, the Showa era films. Big book box set. I'm very excited to finally have this in my collection. And shout out to my friend Lindsay. She actually swayed me into getting this. I asked her, she's a big Godzilla fan, and I said, you know what? If I'm going to ask anyone, it's going to be her. Is this worth getting? And she's like, definitely. Some of it's, she was very honest with her opinions on it, but she said it's worth it if you can get it for a good price during Criterion's 50% off sale or even cheaper than that. So shouts out to you, Lindsay, because I'm very excited to have this and a little bit of a bathroom read. I'm going to put this in the bathroom for a little bit, read while I look at the pictures while I take my deuce. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun time. Do my thing. Next up, we have some just random releases. This is Massacre Video's Spine. This one didn't go for a whole lot online, so I just decided to buy it. I was like, whatever, just throw it in the pile. And then we have, this one's interesting. This is Shriek Show's Flesh Eater, which, for those who don't know, this is Bill Heinzman on the front cover, who was the first ghoul in Night of the Living Dead, and he was responsible for... Romero, Russo, Savini not, doing a good remake of Night of the Living Dead or continuing on with the Night of the Living Dead name for a while because the original title was Night of the Flesh Eaters. And this movie looks awful. However, I might as well get into it. I love my cheesy zombie films, so excited to have that. A little bummed because I did find out Vinegar Syndrome has a release of that, but, this was cheap and it's whatever. Next up, we have some Arrow releases. Sorry for bending over. There's this, Arrow and Severin. Excuse me. We have the bird with the crystal plumage, kind of like digibook pack. Really, really nice Argento piece. We have a steelbook version of The Beyond. This is really, really beautiful. I enjoy Fulci films, so I'm excited to like Actually, I was going through my set, and here's the original copy of the Beyond that I had from when I was in high school, which was on my shelf. So I'm very excited to have a upgraded version. We have the Contamination with kind of this cool like holographic cover. Really, really rad. Another Fulci joint. This one's from Code Red, excuse me. Voices from Beyond. This is spine number 2, so a very early Code Red release. And staying in chronological order, Nail Gun Massacre, still factory sealed. Issue spine number 3. Excited about that. We have another Lenzi film. This is Eaten Alive, another cannibal exploitation film. We've got Zombie 3, staying Fulci and zombie and eating people related. And then a movie you probably didn't know came out, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Psych, it is Night Killer. I couldn't read it through the viewfinder. Night Killer. What a lot of people did in, Europe was they took a popular title and, adapted it to European audiences to hopefully sell more copies or, sell tickets. And there's like Jaws 5. There's a, Zombie was the original title of Dawn of the Dead. So when Fulci Zombie comes out, people call that Zombie 2, and it's a whole mess. But that's not Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. That would technically be the Next Generation, but we have that. Last but not least for this set, before we go into a brief intermission, is we have actually we got 2 films. This is a limited to 1,000. This is a Chameleon Arts movie called Found. This one is autographed. I don't know much about this film. Couldn't find a whole lot online. Didn't do a whole lot of digging, to be honest, but it's about a kid who gets picked on, and then they find out his brother's a serial killer, so he's trying to, keep that a secret, and that's autographed by the cast and crew, which is pretty rad. And then we have an Unearthed Films, probably one of the least offensive Unearthed Films title that we have here, is Itchy 1, which is the prequel to Itchy the Killer. And I had a discussion with a couple people about Japanese cinema, mainly horror cinema, and a lot of people talk about Audition. I love both films, Itchy the Killer and Audition, but I think Itchy the Killer is like just a really awesome film, and it doesn't get the praise that it really kind of deserves. And this is interesting. This is supposed to be the prequel to Itchy the Killer, so it's gonna be fun to watch this. With that being said, we do have 3 titles left to go, and this is where we take a brief intermission. If you'd like to turn back, if there's, there is some trigger warnings for blood, assault, sexual abuse, NC-17 and up sort of content. So if that is not your vibe, I don't mind clicking off. I'll see you in the next video, of course. But we're going to fade to black and then fade back in, just so I have, some work for post Eric. But thank you for watching, and let's get into the last 3 films.
Lemonade? Please, I made it just for you. You are my best friend.
All right, and we're back. Last 3 films on the docket. We'll go with the more common of the films, which is the August Underground. This is the first film by Fred Vogel. There's 3 in the series. This is the Snuff edition, limited to, I believe, 1,000, and this is autographed by the cast and crew as well, which is really cool. August Underground is a pseudo-snuff film about a killer named Peter who, him and his friend basically go and torture, kill, dismember, and do heinous acts to a lot of people. And there's like a backstory behind this where he was trying to get someone to publish it, and he gave a copy to a magazine. Magazine wrote about it, and it got a huge buzz from the magazine and the underground community, which is really cool. And a lot of people were, they claim this to be a very like their difficult film to watch, which I do not blame them. I watched clips of it online prior to this. Haven't seen the full thing, but I'm gonna dive into it. This is by Toe Tag Pictures, which is Fred Vogel's production company. So excited to have this in my collection, just for the sake of, you know, I appreciate the special effects and the practical effects that are used in a lot of these films. I don't necessarily like the content that's in it, but I do appreciate the makeup effects and the gore effects and stuff like that. This film is also, if you might have heard this title before, is on the disturbing movie Iceberg. I would recommend checking out Wendigoon's video on that. I'll leave the link in the description, because we also have 2 more films that are on that list as well. Next, staying kind of in that, you know, sphere, this is kind of like the middle. This is American Guinea Pig Bouquet of Guts and Gore, also autographed by the cast and crew, limited to 300. The Guinea Pig series is a Japanese gore exploitation film in the 80s, and I believe there's 6 Japanese titles. And then the American Guinea Pig is like a spin-off series to that. It's just a lot of mutilation, a lot of dismemberment, a lot of blood and gore, and, you know, it's just hardcore extreme violence. But it's, like I said, the effects in it are absolutely maddening, that they're able to pull something like that off, because a lot of people do see this and they believe it is real, to a degree. So, and this one, I believe, is, I'm trying to remember the name of the title, but this is supposed to be the film that inspired one of the guinea pig films. So it's not in real life, because this came out in the 2000s. The other ones came out in the like late 80s, early 90s. But that's what, like, this is told as, like, this is the film that like was discovered, and we're bringing it to you for the first time ever, kind of thing. And last but not least, I don't know why I picked this up, but I think I picked it up just to save somebody from having to watch this. This is Lucifer Valentine's Regurgitated Sacrifice. Regurgitated Sacrifice from the Vomit Gore trilogy, now Vomit Gore series. This is the second entry. It's got vomit and it's got gore. It's pretty unappetizing, and I personally don't see any artistic merit in the film. I actually sat down and watched it one day, and I was like, my Sunday is ruined. Ugh, like, but the first film, from what I understand, actually has a pretty interesting story about a sex worker named Angela, who happens to be bulimic, and she is ascending or descending into depravity and hell. And this is kind of the purgatory version, so she's going through different stages, and she ends up, you know, meeting the devil at the end. That's what I got from it. But it's basically, you know, vomit and gore porn at this point. But if you are interested in something that has a little bit more substance, I would recommend Black Metal Veins by Lucifer Valentine. I did talk about it in one of my past videos. It's a pseudo-documentary about the lives of some heroin addicts. And they're in a black metal band, so they talk about black metal music. But that has a lot more artistic merit and, like, themes involved. You get a little bit more out of that film versus somebody getting an octopus put on their head and somebody throwing up into a skull or the cavern of a brain, and then, yeah, it's not very pleasing. But if you made it through the rest of the video, thank you so much for watching. I do highly appreciate it. If you like this type of stuff, please consider subscribing. Leave a like down below and let me know if you've seen any of these films, and give me your recommendations on what I might want to watch from this stack. I'd love to hear it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.